This is the Paracave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Parramatta Leagues Club, home of the Eels, and also home of Jack's Pale Ale.
Welcome to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Paracave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. Troy Warner here, and it is the Gameday preview podcast. It is Parramatta taking on the Newcastle Knights up there at McDonald Jones Stadium, Friday the 16th of May, 6 p.m, which is the first game of round 11 in the NRL, as the Women's State of Origin game is the night before on New South Wales and Queensland, being played at Allianz Stadium. Go the Blues. But this is the NRL preview, and look, before I get into anything about this current game, as you all know, I do like to do a few stats here and there, and look, let's start off with the games played between these two teams. There has been 59 matches being played between these two sides from 1988, when the Newcastle Knights joined the competition. And it has been 31 wins to the Newcastle Knights and 27 to the Parramatta Eels. Now, games being played at McDonald Jones Stadium from 1988. It's had a few name changes, I think, from time to time. I think it was Newcastle International Sports Ground at one stage. Now currently McDonald Jones Stadium. Can't remember the other ones, if there has been. I can't remember the names of them. Let me just see if there has been any other names there. It's a bit like Shark Park, the old Newcastle home ground. It's had a few name changes. Obviously, as I said, Newcastle International Sports Ground. Then there was Marathon Stadium during the 90s there. Then it went to Energy Australia Stadium in the early 2000s. Osgrid Stadium, another name change there. That was 2011. Hunter Stadium, and then now McDonald Jones Stadium. So a few name changes there, but at that ground it has been 31 games. There have been 31 games since 1988. The Newcastle Knights, obviously the home team, have had more wins there. 20 wins to Parramatta's 11 wins up there. Now to some of the players that have played for both clubs. And look, there's been some really recognisable players that have played for both clubs when I went through the list, and a few that I really do remember, others that I don't, like Russell Wire. I think he may have played for Western Suburbs as well. I could not tell you exactly, but I think he might have played for Western Suburbs. Danny Wicks, of course, started his career, I think, at Newcastle, and then later came to Parramatta. Darren Tracy is another one. Tamana Tahu. Now, what a great player he was for, I guess you could say, both clubs. Probably not so much for Parramatta fans in 2001 when he scored tries in the grand final, but certainly when he was at Parramatta. But a great player, nevertheless, for both clubs. Ken Seo started off his career at Parramatta, later on played for Newcastle winger. Beau Scott was captain of Parramatta when he was at the club, and of course was at Newcastle when Wayne Bennett was there. A couple of other ones that spring to mind as well. Paulie. I used to love him. I thought he was going to have a massive career in the NRL. Had a big, may still be actually. I'm not 100% sure, but I thought he would have a bigger career in the NRL. Was a giant of a man, actually, and I thought he could have been a little bit of a cult hero. Certainly was when he was at Parramatta, but he also played for Newcastle as well. John Morris, 300 gamer, played for a few other clubs as well, former Cronulla Sharks head coach as well. Jason Moody played in the 2001 Grand Final, and also played for Newcastle as well. I think he may have been on the bench or extended bench in that 97 Grand Final for Newcastle. We have Todd Lowry, who is now down at the Melbourne Storm, I believe, one of the assistant coaches down there, or football managers or something like that. I think you'll see him in the sheds before a game anyway. Todd Lowry played in the 2009 Grand Final for Parramatta. We also have Richard Fayesu, and Isaac De Gois, who is now at Parramatta in a pathways position. We've also had him on the podcast as well, to be honest. So check out that in the back catalogue. Nathan Barnes, I think he came down in the big with the big four, the big Canterbury four. I remember that one, and a few other players as well. There's that picture of, I think, 7 or so, 8, 9 players that were signed up by Parramatta, and he was one of those at the time. Now, look, going to some of the games that I remember anyway, and look, there may be others that you remember, so let me know if you do remember any other specific games between these two clubs. And the first game that was played between these two clubs was in 1988, Saturday the 5th of March, and it was up there in Newcastle. Parramatta won 28 points to 4. Couple of try to Steve Ella, Michael Erickson, Eric Groth, Peter Wynn got a try on that day. Steve Ella was a goal kicker, 6 from 6 on that day, and Brett Kenny, Peter Sterling, what a halves combination that was. Well, that was the first game that was played, and look, generally there was some mixed results there. In the late 90s, it sort of was a bit one apiece sort of thing. Parramatta, Newcastle, 1995, Newcastle beat Parramatta 19 points to 12 up at Marathon Stadium. The next year after that, at Parramatta Stadium, it was 18-16. 1997, the premiership year for the Newcastle Knights, 29-10 up at Marathon. And then it was 28-22 at Parramatta, but the one that counted was the semi or minor qualifying final of the Optus Cup back in those days. The Newcastle Knights won 28 points to 20. Moving right along, and there was a couple of finals games that were played between these two clubs. One was another one in 1999. Parramatta defeated Newcastle 30 points to 16. That was the qualifying final in 1999. 2000, it was one win apiece. 2001, now that's an interesting season, that one. It was 32 points to 14 up at Newcastle in March. In June, it was 40 points to 0 at Parramatta Stadium, but unfortunately for us Parramatta fans anyway, it was 30 points to 24 in front of a crowd of 90,414 at, it was then called Stadium Australia. It is now a core stadium. My first ever live grand final for the Parramatta Eels, and I was absolutely devastated that night, as along with many other Parramatta fans as well. I've always said that if it was 5 minutes longer, we would have won that grand final, but it wasn't to be. All the damage was done in the first half, and Andrew Johns and Ben Kennedy were on fire that night. Jason Taylor, he was picked out in the defensive line, and the big boys ran at him, and unfortunately scored, got a couple of tries. Former guest on the podcast, Bill Peden, he scored a couple of tries that night. And yeah, so I don't really want to talk about that one too much more, to be honest. It is still a big disappointment. A big 50-0 win for Parramatta in 2005. That was up at Energy Australia Stadium in Newcastle. I'd like to see that again on Friday night. That would be great to see. 2009, it was a 40-8 win at Parramatta. Just recently, what I can see here, the last time they played, 2024, Newcastle got the chocolates that day, 34-26. 2023, Parramatta 43-12. 2022, I remember that game. That was, I think, that was the day before Anzac Day. That was the day. That was the game of the famous or infamous. Is it? I don't know. Parramatta Eels Poppy Anzac jerseys that not a lot of people liked, but Parramatta won that day 39-2, and Dylan Brown played in the centres that day. Jacob Arthur played 5'8", and Dylan Brown was in the centres, so that is certainly interesting there. Of course, Dylan Brown headed to the Newcastle Knights next season to play up there in Newcastle, 10-year deal, $14 million deal to play halfback, apparently. That's a story for another day. So, look, there's been some games there. There's been some high-scoring games there between these two sides. Some memorable games, some unforgettable games, some forgettable games as well. Let me know if there's any Parramatta Newcastle games that you can remember that you have been at and that you can remember. I will be up there at Marathon, call it a marathon, McDonald Jones Stadium, I should say, on Friday night. So if you see me out and about, come and say g'day. I won't bite your head off. Just come and have a chat. Anyway, that will be great. Looking forward to seeing lots of Parramatta fans, blue and gold, everywhere. Now, to the two team lists and the home side, Kalen Ponga, James Schiller, Dane Gagai. Congratulations to him. He plays his 300th NRL game this weekend up there at Newcastle. He's had a couple of stints at Newcastle, played for the Broncos and also played for South Sydney. Bradman Best, Fletcher Hunt, Fletcher Sharp, two Fletchers with mullets by the looks of it. Probably would have to be the first time there's been two Fletchers in the same team, I reckon. Jack Cogger, Jacob Saifidi, Phoenix Crossland, Tyson Frizzell, Dylan Lucas, Kai Pearce, Paul Allen, Adam Elliott locks the scrum. On the bench, Jaden Brayley, Matt Croker, Thomas Cant and Brodie Jones. The 18th replacement, 18th man, is Jack Hetherington. Now, for the Parramatta Eels, the big news is that Zach Lomax is back from injury and he is on the wing, so he is a straight swap for Bailey Simonson. Unfortunately, Bailey is out for 6 to 10 weeks with a foot injury as well. You wouldn't read about it, would you? 3 foot injuries at Parramatta. Mitchell Moses, Zach Lomax, and now Bailey Simonson. But look, a pretty handy replacement for Bailey. Zach just slots straight onto the wing. He was playing a little bit of that in the Dragons game previously to his injury, and look, if he is to be selected for the New South Wales State of Origin side, he will play on the wing anyway, so perfect for that. And look, there is a bit of a hashtag going around. I do believe it could be started by my co-host on the or the host, I should say, illustrious host on the Talking Para podcast, Mr. Adam Martin, Momax. So get that one trending, peoples, and that is what everyone is looking forward to seeing, because this will be the first time that Mitchell Moses and Zach Lomax are in blue and gold together. Of course, they played in State of Origin together last season and for Australia. But this is the first time in blue and gold. So plenty of Parramatta fans are looking and waiting for that cross-field kick from Mitchell for Zach and try time. Will Penasini, Sean Russell, Josh Adokar, Dylan Brown, Mitchell Moses, Jack Williams, Riley Smith, Junior Paolo, Matt Dury, Kitione Kyle Toga, Jermaine Hopgood, Dylan Walker, Luca Moretti, Jordan Samrani, Tony Matelli. So he makes his debut for the Parramatta Eels. I believe, I think a 22-year-old gentle giant, I believe. 22. Height is 190 centimetres, weight 108 kilos. So he is a big boy. He has been playing a lot of New South Wales Cup, 46 games for Parramatta and Newcastle as well. So congratulations to Tony for making his debut on Friday night up there at Newcastle. And yeah, what a big unit he is. Probably like a sort of a replacement, I guess, for another giant of the Eels, Sam Tuivasa, who unfortunately injured himself. I think that was up at Magic Round against the Sharks, so didn't play last weekend against the Dolphins. But another big body in this side. And the 18th man is Joash Papali. So Ryan Madison has been named at number 19. There has been some rumours floating around on social media that he will actually play, and that adds to the question, if he is to force his way into this side, who drops out. Now look, I think unfortunately Matt Dury will be the player who will drop out. I mean, you can't drop a debutant. I think Jordan Samrani has been playing some unbelievable football the last 2 weeks. He's been one of Parramatta's best. He is certainly an up-and-comer. I probably would not drop him. Luca Moretti, Dylan Walker, you're not going to drop those off the bench either. Some are saying maybe Jermaine Hopgood should have a little bit of a break and seem like he is struggling a little bit with his back injury that he suffered last year in State of Origin, but I think unfortunately it would be Matt Dury if Ryan Madison was to come into this side. Now, just have to wait and see until the final notice is given as to the team list. So just a couple of changes there, one force change, one form change to the Parramatta Eels. I forgot to mention Isaiah Iongi as well at the fullback there. He is having a blinder of a season. Played one game for Penrith last year, but has really come of age this year in replacement of Clint Gutherson. To the team stats for this year, and look, Parramatta are coming off back-to-back losses, 28-18 up there, Magic Round against the Sharks, and last weekend at CommBank Stadium, 20 points to 16. The Newcastle Knights, they went down at home, 24 points to 20. They were leading 20-0 at one stage, and the Titans just came back and got the victory there. They did defeat the Rabbitohs 30 points to 4. And they have won 1 out of their last 5. Parramatta have won 2 out of their last 5. So both two teams that are struggling a bit at the moment. The Newcastle Knights find themselves in 14th spot on 8 points. The Parramatta Eels, unfortunately, are in 17th spot on 6 points. But back to the team stats. And the points scored, Parramatta have scored more points, 151 to Newcastle's 122. That has been one of the problems for Newcastle this season, is scoring points. There was a period there where they went, I think it was 2 games or something, something ridiculous like that, or where they didn't score any points. So it that has been a problem for them, whereas for Parramatta the problem has been their defence. They have leaked 272 points and the Newcastle Knights 174. So scoring points is Newcastle's problem, defence is Parramatta's problem. Completion rate, Parramatta better, 77%, Newcastle 71%. Average points scored, 16 to the Eels, 13 to the Newcastle Knights. And as I said, the problem is defence. Average points conceded is 30 for the Eels and 19 for the Newcastle Knights. Look, how is this game going to be played out? Well, look, I think for both sides, look, I'm going to talk from a Parramatta side of things anyway. For Parramatta to win, I think they need to be well disciplined, not give away ruck infringements, 6 agains, and penalties. I think their defence needs to be on song as well. As I said before, the defence has been a problem of theirs. And look, if they can score the first try, get a little bit of momentum, then they'll go a long way to winning this game. Newcastle, in front of their home fans, they did, as I said, got out to a 20 points to nil lead last week. So they jumped out of the blocks last week and got up 20-0 over the Titans. They will want to be trying to do that same sort of thing as they did last week. However, they will want obviously want a different second half. So, look, I think the forwards for Parramatta, it's an old cliche. If the forwards are going forward, then the backs can get the space to do their job. So, there is a couple of battles that are looking quite good. Look, if you look on paper, the halves, obviously Dylan Brown, Mitchell Moses, that half combination is probably, definitely is a better one than Fletcher Sharp, Jack Cogger. Fletcher Sharp scored a triple the other week up at Magic Round. But on paper, you would definitely go for that halves combination of Parramatta's. Look, that's going to be an interesting battle between Bradman Best and Will Penasini. Will has probably struggled a little bit this year in defence and in form compared to previous seasons. Bradman Best, he is auditioning for a State of Origin spot. I don't think he'll get it, but he will want to have a blinder this game just to remind the selectors that he is available. Dane Gagai in his 300th game up against Sean Russell. That will be an interesting one there. Josh Addo-Carr up against James Schiller. We all know the speed that Josh has, so hopefully he can get out into some open pasture and just turn that speed on, so James will have his work cut out for him. Fletcher Hunt, well, he's only a young guy. He is coming up against Zach Lomax, so that will be an interesting one there, that is for sure. So, bit of pressure on Fletcher with Zach Lomax. And we, as I said before, we all know what Zach is like in the air, catching bombs, scoring tries and the like. So, Fletcher will have his work cut out. It'll be an interesting battle as well between Kalen Ponga and Isaiah Iongi as well. Kalen potentially again. Well, this is sort of an Origin trial, isn't it? For selection in the Origin teams of New South Wales and Queensland. So, I haven't really heard Kalen's name be mentioned a lot. I don't know if he'll be picked or not, but again, he'll want to have a big game just to remind the Queensland selectors that he is there for selection. But Isaiah Iongi, as I said, he's only played, I think, 12 games in the NRL. Caelan's got a lot more experience than him, but he has certainly shown that he is up to NRL standard, and he could be the surprise packet in this game. So looking forward to those battles as well. And look, as I said, if Parramatta can limit the mistakes as well, the missed tackles, get their defence right, their kick chase defence, then they'll go a long way to winning this game. That is for sure. So, look, going to some predictions. And, look, for the score prediction, I'm going to say 24 points to 20 in favour of Parramatta. I think they can get the job done. I'm hoping it is more points than that, to be honest, because I know that they can score points, and I'm hoping they really do turn it on, because they do need to score points for their for and against. I'm hoping they can limit Newcastle to scoring points, but just have to wait and see. But I'm going to say 24 points to 20. I am going to say Will Penasini as the first try scorer. I think he can... Look, I know I do say him a lot as the first try scorer, but I think that will just give him confidence. He had a try disallowed last week against the Dolphins. He had an opportunity to potentially pass it to Jordan Samrani, who... maybe have got across the line there. So look, if he can get a try early on, that will give him confidence and throughout this game. Bold prediction. Now look, I said on the Talking Para podcast on 8:15 on Facebook Live every Tuesday, so if you're a Para fan, jump on board and watch that one, 8:15 PM on Facebook. We go live on that one. So I said on that one last night, I said that it's going to be 20-all going into the last couple of minutes of the game, and you know who is going to score the winning try. That's right, Dylan Brown. He's going to score the winning try to make it 24-20. It could be right out in the corner. A very difficult kick, which the goal kicker, who will probably be Zach Lomax on his return, will maybe miss. So, but Dylan Brown, 20-all, Dylan Brown will get the winning try to win the game. And look, that'll give Parramatta confidence, because as I said, they are 17th on the ladder at the moment. They are on 6 points. The Panthers are on 7 points. They have the bye this weekend, so they will get 2 points and they'll jump above the Titans. Parramatta, they have a worse for and against than the Titans, but if they can get this victory, they'll go closer to the Titans anyway as well. But look, it doesn't matter about whether you jump up above them or not. It just gives a win can give you confidence going into the next game against Manly, and then a bye, I think it is. So winning just gives you confidence. So just take it one step at a time. It's going to be an almighty climb to get off that bottom of the ladder. Look, I hope you have enjoyed this game day preview. As I said, I'm really looking forward to this game. I will be up there at McDonald Jones Stadium. I will be at the Eels event, members event beforehand at the Thirsty Messiah pub. So if you see me there as well, come and say good day. We'll have a chat Parramatta and rugby league. But if you see me at the game as well, come and say good day. And as I said, really looking forward to it. So don't be shy, I'll be up there. Let's have a chat. Always great to meet some listeners of the podcast. But thank you very much for listening to this one. Share it with your family and friends. I really appreciate it. Give the Instagram page a follow as well if you are not already. I'd really appreciate that one as well. The Para Cave podcast, by the fan, for the fans. Go Para! How you going, mate? Are you a Para Cave podcast listener?
I am, bro. It's a great podcast. Everyone tune in.
Go Para!
for listening to another episode of the Parramatta Podcast. See you next time.